It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Only pipe he hits is between his legs. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Frame Skip Podcast, episode 151.
Starting.
I'm your host this week, George, joined by my favorite crew of little nerds who like to talk about things. We got Seth, we got Austin, we got Coach. I'm going to start with Coach, because Coach is the reason we're so late tonight. Coach, how's your day? How are you? What were your numbers today at the gimnasio?
Okay, so this morning I ran. So I added a quarter mile. So I'm at 2.25 miles. And then after that, I walked.
What's the time? What's the time on 2.25 miles?
I'm just going as low as I can to build a base. Okay. So there's no real speed today. Okay. Thursday and Saturday, yes. But right now, no.
So what's the time?
22 maybe? I think 22.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, that passes the presidential fitness thing, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, the thing is like I just have to be super careful with my calf, and I'm finally able to run. And the PT test is in 3 weeks, so I'm just like navigating this because I have to pass this. Like I really do, so that way I could rank up and I'll be good. So, and then today I just I do full body. So 3 times a week I'll do full body workouts, and then the other 3 I'll try and do core. So today was just full body. So like when I was benching flat with the barbell, I was just doing 45s and 10s on each side. So the main was just 4 sets of 8. So, and then go ahead.
Everyone knows though, smoking hot body is not made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen. What are your macros? What's your calorie count? What's your deficit? What do you have?
It's hard for me to do my macros, but now like what I've been doing is I'll skip breakfast. So I'll go like 16 hours without eating. And then when I hit lunch, pretty healthy. I'm not eating crap, right? I have all 3 protein, vegetables, and some type of carb on there. And then midday, about 3:30, I'll have like a protein sludge, which is just like peanut butter, protein powder, a little bit of milk, some chia seeds, and you mix it up. And then for dinner, I'm just having my little meal replacement. So that's kind of like what I'm doing for now, because I'm in the body. I'm in like trying to just cut body fat. Like eventually I'll start focusing on like bigger, like getting like Jack Reacher, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also cut dinner for a meal replacement. I get
so.
He said sure.
So, Coach, a special person in the chat. I just want to bring this up right quick. Their name is Andie. Not sure who that is, but they ask, what happens if you don't pass the test?
Okay, so you just get put on, you get flagged, and you get another chance like a month later, basically.
So it's not like a dishonorable discharge or anything?
Oh, heck no. No. So basically, if you don't, all my numbers, I'm passing, no problem, right? I'm passing, no problem. But let's say someone who doesn't, if they don't pass by a certain date as they get closer to leaving, then they don't get a tour award. Yeah.
I see. So it's like getting a platinum trophy.
Pretty much, yes. And this is going to be a new platinum. This is going to be a joint platinum trophy this year. So I haven't gotten any joint awards. So
bet you're excited to retire from the military so you can start doing joints all the time. Am I right? Am I right? Not in the military though, of course not. No.
Coach, do they still talk about me, those tests? About how they developed the test around my physique?
Yeah, I got yelled at today because I'm just saying, look, I'm 53 and I'm just trying to just pass the bare minimum. And they're like, well, not fucking Seth. This dude went balls out and he platinumed every one of the events he platinumed.
Yeah, I thought so. I wasn't sure if that
shame to my heart. Like shame to my heart.
Honestly, it was just another Tuesday for me.
Yeah.
No. Legend of Heroes is actually a video game series about Seth.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually.
True
I
story.
can't stop playing it.
Speaking of Seth, how's your day? How are you? How are
You-
things?
I'm great. Been pretty good day. Did a lot of laundry. Took my dog to the vet. Pretty average Tuesday. That's what's going on with me.
How's
Pretty good.
how's the dog? Was it just a physical, just like a normal like yearly checkup kind of deal?
Yeah, it was the 1 year checkup. His rabies
Okay.
vaccine and stuff like that. Distemper or whatever the hell that means. But
I don't know what that means. I have 4 dogs and I don't know what that means. So
yep. They're like, oh, this is for kennel cough. I'm like, is it like the flu or something? Like, why can't we use normal words for dog sicknesses?
no, kennel cough
Distemper.
is like, but it's like way more contagious than the flu and it's like really bad. So
Yeah.
but they give it a cute name so you don't get scared as a dog owner. Oh, kennel
should name
cough.
it
I guess
Kennel
that
Plague.
makes sense.
Austin,
Blood
you bespectacled beautiful fuck. How are you? How's your day?
Oh, I'm
How are
great,
things?
George. I'm great, George.
Yeah.
It's been a good day. It's been a good week. It's been a good 2 weeks since we did a podcast last. So yeah, it's been good. Not a whole lot going on. Andy and I went over the weekend and saw the Avatar: The Last Airbender orchestra in Atlanta. They did like the soundtrack from the show, just select pieces in this like 2 hour long orchestra in downtown Atlanta, and it was good to see. So
Sounds pretty cool.
yeah.
I'm okay. I'm about to start a 36-hour fast again. I've been doing it like
Oh.
every other week for the past few months, I guess.
Yes.
Shit's awesome. It feels great. It makes me feel like I'm more disciplined than I thought I was every time I do it. Also, it just makes me feel better. I kind of want to cheat a little bit and do like a 36-hour fast, like with like a Metamucil or something, like a fiber thing, just to like, really like clear me out. But I'm afraid that's like just completely negating the benefits of doing a 36-hour fast.
I would
but-
think
So take it at the beginning, like take an X-Lax at the beginning, like even before the beginning, like your last meal. No, serious. Like
No, that's what
Yeah.
I usually do. Like I started on Wednesday, so then I can like just not do anything Thursday, and that's usually like when I'm busiest at work anyway. So I just don't think about food. And then Friday morning is like I try to do it by like 9, and so like I usually like
Right.
bring Metamucil to the bar I host pub trivia at, and I get drunk. I get like a chicken sandwich there, and then I have a Metamucil and like a shot of tequila at like 9, and then I'm like done for the night. And then by 9
what do
a.m.
they call
on,
that drink?
the fucking get out of here, you gross piece of monster. They're not thrilled with my dietary habits
Right.
at the bar I host pub
Well,
trivia. But
let me
I'm
ask you
really
this.
good at trivia, so it's
Right.
fine.
Let me ask you this, George. Based on your 36-hour fast, what hour is it that is the toughest? And then once you climb that, it's easy the rest of the time.
There's 2 points that I think are really tough, where it's like the 15-hour point,
Okay.
where you're just like,
I was
okay,
gonna say
cool.
that.
Like
Yeah.
I've done it, I've gotten through, like I've got a big chunk, I'm a third of the way done. I did it, and then you're like, oh god, like it's a pretty good time to eat food right now. Because like that'll get you to like 3 o'clock the next day if I do it at 9. And then it is like the 24-hour mark where like it's a whole day and you're like, I could have a protein bar and like that's not unhealthy. Plus my calories are way down for the day, so it's like I'm still doing well. 24 and like 15, those are the hardest. And I've been trying really hard to like not smoke as much. That was the only reason I was able to do it earlier this year, was just like pouring a giant like pitcher of water and smoking a cigarette. Trying to not smoke as much anymore. I've started getting really into Zins, which has been delightful. Just being able to get that nicotine high wherever I am. Movie theater, no problem. Pharmacy, great. Gotta remember to take it out before I go to the dentist, though. That would be awkward. But man, I'm trying to imagine a 36-hour fast without smoking, and I don't want to. That doesn't sound very fun. But also, it's killing me, so I should probably stop doing it.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good
For
idea.
the last week, I've been back on the grind with just doing one meal a day.
Well, man.
Being a low carb meal, and I agree. I think like hour 15 is like the hardest. Every once in a while, especially like a few years ago when I was doing it and lost like 70 pounds, I'll throw like a 72-hour fast in there just to really push myself. But yeah, I think fasting's great. I don't think it's brought forth enough as like a really legitimate way to get in shape, because you will lose weight extremely fast fasting.
Well,
Surprise, surprise! Just don't eat, you'll lose weight.
I lose like 5 pounds every time I do one of these.
Yeah.
the reality is too. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of research on fasting, but I mean, if you just look at like our metabolism as like a species, I mean, when we were foraging for stuff, thousands of years ago, that's essentially what we were doing. We would eat a few things and then go 2 days without eating anything. So I'm sure if you were to do it consistently, I mean, your body, I know, would adapt to it, and there are certainly benefits.
So the cool thing is like one, and for me, it's like 18. At hour 18 is when I'll start hearing voices in my head like, go get something to eat.
Oh,
break the fast. It's okay. Yeah. You're doing such a good job, right? So
you've earned one Skittle. Go get one Skittle.
Right, there you go. So, but at hour 24, from 24 to 36, that's where your body just regenerates at a cellular level. Because I did research on it, and that's the part where you're not burning fat as much as your body is just rebuilding all of those cells that are all just like deteriorating. And so
I like how you can tell that this is how we're getting older, because I feel like if we were doing a podcast 10 years ago, it'd be like just us talking about the bourbons we really liked. And now I'm like sitting here and I'm like, Seth, I appreciate you going on like a fast to help with weight loss, but I'm worried about the quality of your beard. Like, aren't you going to lose some of that beautiful sheen and coloring if you cut down any kind of protein or animal fat intake that you've got going on? Because it looks perfect right now. And like, that's how I know I'm getting older. Is the thing, we'd have comparisons about light beers 10 years ago, and look at us now talking about calories, talking about fasting. We're so grown up.
Well, like Austin over there with his 3% body fat.
Yeah, if that.
I don't know what I'm at, to be honest. But my problem is I have no muscles whatsoever, so I'm just like a stick.
Hey, we can fix that, buddy.
I know.
Get down weight.
I know.
Let's get juicy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to say that's the easy part, but I feel like that's probably the more fun part.
Let's get
for
juicy.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I'll stab you in the butt. You stab me in the butt. We'll just have a grand old time.
Like, I think you're less upset if you only put on 2 pounds of muscle versus me when I only lose 2 pounds of fat. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm trying to lose weight and I only lose 2 pounds in a week, I think that's a bummer. But I feel like if you were to gain 2 pounds a week, you're like, all right, here we go. Every journey of a million miles starts with one step. And here I'm doing the reverse to me, and I'm like writing my fucking suicide note because I only lost 2 pounds in a week and I feel pathetic.
But I will say this, I have like some concerns. I mean, I definitely like genetically hit a pretty good lottery when it comes to like my metabolism, because I don't eat poorly. I mean, I eat pretty decent. Andie and I always kind of cook things at home. We only go out usually like once a week. We don't drink soda. So like we eat pretty well, but at the same time, like I could eat basically anything possible and I'm not ever going to gain weight, which I know is going to change as I get older.
Yes.
So I need to start like getting in better shape and like really accounting for that before it gets out of control.
I'd say you're good until like 31, 32.
Yeah.
That's when you need to start being more conscious. And also, it is easy to do. Like, when I work hard at it, I lose weight really quickly. I lose it pretty fast. I would lose like 20 pounds in a month if I did like my it's not keto, it's the other one.
Carnivore?
Not that one.
What was the one in Miami?
That was Atkins, right?
Yeah.
Will Smith diet.
No, God, I forgot what it's called, but it's like no carbs, no sugar, no processed foods, and it's
no carbs, no sugar, no processed food. Sounds like keto, buddy.
Well, no, it's not. Well, it's not keto because like there's no legumes, like there's no. Fuck, I forgot what it's called. It's a very strict diet. It's not actually supposed to help you lose weight. It's supposed to like recalibrate your body so that when you reintroduce new elements, like you're not supposed to go back to just eating everything you were eating before. You're like, okay, now I'm going to start eating beans again. How does beans affect me? Okay, now I'm going to add dairy now that I know how beans... Like, it's supposed to like reset you so like you know what food is doing to you.
That's interesting.
But every time I do it, I lose like 25 pounds and it's awesome. The problem is like having the discipline to stick to it, especially when there's things like red wine. Anyways, I think that's enough.
concert.
You saw UB40? That's sick. Do you know what the UB?
1990.
Do you know what UB40 stands for?
No.
They were so pissed at Margaret Thatcher for calling like musicians like a bunch of bums at the time, and they went on unemployment, and the unemployment form they had to fill out was unemployment benefits 40. So that's where they got the name UB40.
Oh my gosh.
They hated Margaret Thatcher so much. Anyways, that's enough of that. Not a whole lot going on. Like, there's news this week that we're going to release this. This is Gamescom week. Is anyone following? Like, I'm actually not. I didn't watch the conference. I saw some news coming out of just, like, Wario 64 and some Shinobi stuff, but, like, that's pretty much it.
I kind of had it pulled up, but I wasn't actively paying attention.
I saw, like, the first 45 minutes of the conference, and then I was like, all right, I'm good now. I'll just watch. I'll just like read for the updates because I don't know. It didn't seem like there was anything like groundbreaking going to be announced. I feel like they kind of reserve that for like the showcases and stuff. So
yeah, I think the biggest news so far, Borderlands 4. Not that I don't care. I don't know about you guys. I like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I never played Borderlands 3. That's kind of where I'm at with the Borderlands franchise now.
I tried to play Tiny Tina's Wonderland. My biggest problem with it was that she would not shut the fuck up. I couldn't take it anymore. Like she just would just fucking absolute captain of blabbing and it wouldn't stop. So
pro yapper, yeah.
Yeah. Team captain, yapping.
See, the old yap cap, yeah. That seemed big. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming to PlayStation 5 in spring of 2025. That seems actually kind of huge. And it like makes sense. This is me thinking Microsoft has more of its thumb on Xbox than it ever has before, because like Microsoft itself isn't opposed to multi-platform shit. Like one of the highest selling programs of all time on Mac is Microsoft Word. Like they don't care who's using their shit as long as someone's using their shit. Like they think software sales are a good thing. So this doesn't surprise me. I actually think bodes pretty well. Like I don't think we're ever going to see like a Halo game appear on PlayStation. But if it's from like a third-party developer, if it's like a built-in brand like that, I wouldn't be shocked if it comes. I bring this up because one of the studios that's also part of Bethesda is working on like a Blade game, right? The people who did Dishonored.
Yep.
Right? So I'm just like, as the comic book nerd in me, I'm like, okay, should I grab that on Xbox or should I wait 6 months and get that on PlayStation? Either way, it's supporting the studio, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, George. I think when it's not, looking at it now, if you were just to look at it in a vacuum, all these studios are technically first-party studios. But I mean, we know what we're talking about when we're saying, Playground Games, the makers of Forza Horizon and now Fable, or 343 for Halo. I mean, we I think all would consider those more first-party. But I agree with you that the more third-party-esque studios that they've purchased here over the past 4 or 5 years, I think we're going to continue seeing those games come to other systems. Like, I still guarantee that Starfield's coming at some point. I know they've been very quiet about that, but I really feel like when they get that DLC out and they've got a Game of the Year edition, maybe next fall or something, that's going to be on PS5. I mean, they're just burning money by not
once the
bringing it
game
over.
finally works as intended to.
Yeah.
So I have a remember. Do you remember moment? Talking about exclusives and stuff. Remember when Crystal Dynamics had the new Tomb Raider, like the reboot Tomb Raider, that was timed exclusive on the Xbox, and then everybody was freaking out, right? Well, then when PlayStation got it, they had the definitive edition, but Xbox didn't have the definitive edition.
Also, it got murdered because it came out the same day as Fallout 4. And I think they were like, oh, Fallout 4 is going to murder us? Well, Fallout 5, Xbox exclusive.
So I remember that being a fun situation because they announced it weirdly. They said like, they announced it like the middle of all their exclusives or something like that, but the splash screen didn't say exclusive or something. It was really odd. But I remember everyone was like, That's a timed exclusive, and Microsoft would refuse to talk about it to anyone. And then it just like randomly got announced, and Microsoft never said a word that was a timed exclusive. But I remember that being like a weird situation. That was forever ago. That was like a decade ago. But
2014, 2015, right? Like, I think I just moved to San Francisco when it came
I
out.
wish
And
we
like,
could go back to that.
phenomenal game, by the way.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was waiting to say.
Good.
I know it came out the same day as Fallout 4, but I just want to say, better game than Fallout 4.
100%.
Better game.
Fallout 4 is a turd. It's not a turd, but it was a disappointment.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is legit like one of the best games of last generation, in my opinion. I think that game is excellent.
I'm willing to say that Rise of the Tomb Raider is one of the best games I've ever played, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, you do sarcastic so imperceptibly well that I can't tell if you're doing it now or not.
It became a problem in my life, actually. I don't know if I ever explained this to you guys.
This
but
feels so sarcastic. Yeah, like I don't know.
Like this is real. It
Should
became
I laugh?
a problem in my life because I am like this every day of my life, and I would be joking about something and like hyping myself up, but everyone else in my life is like, he's an arrogant asshole. I don't like him. And like for instance, when I worked at like the truck stop, they made pizzas, and the one time this lady named Mary, she was like, "We're out of pizzas. Should I go make more?" I was like, "I don't know, Mary. Should I go make them?" And she was like, "Damn." And she hated me, and I'm like, "Why? I'm just messing with her." And then everyone's like, "No, because you're super mean to her." I'm like, "Oh no, they just don't understand that I'm just messing around."
No, see, like that sounded super cocky and arrogant. You saying that Shadow the Tomb Raider, Rise, whichever one it was, like that wasn't cocky. That wasn't self-inflating. So I'm just like, I can't tell if he's serious or not, and I'm not going to get mad at him. But I legitimately can't tell if he means it or not. But you do, in fact, mean it.
Yeah, I mean that Shadow of the Tomb Raider might be one of the best games I've ever played, and I didn't like the third one. I thought the third one was kind of not great, but Shadow of the Tomb Raider is phenomenal.
Yeah, Shadow's the third one, so Rise is the one you're talking about, Seth.
So which is better? Which in your eyes, Uncharted or Tomb Raider?
Oh, Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider is like a
I mean the series in general.
Oh, in general, I have to say Uncharted because it's more like consistent. Because I thought like Tomb Raider was good, Rise of the Tomb Raider was phenomenal, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider was like not that great. Shadow of the Tomb Raider had like a weird plot that made Laura a villain, and I thought it was not great.
It was made by like a different dev team, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Crystal
something like
Dynamics.
that. Yeah, because they went off
like
to work on
offshoot
Avengers,
studios.
I think. So.
Yeah.
Probably should have had more
maybe
people work on that.
Yeah.
I'm still so mad about that Avengers game.
Isn't there a fourth one coming out? Yeah, there is. Yeah. I'm wearing the shirt. Colin leaked it on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They read the whole fucking script. And
I forgot about that. But I don't know if it'll happen anymore, though. It sounds like they're kind of rebooting Tomb Raider again because they've got this new character design. And
dude, can you imagine like the whole script leaked? George, did you hear about this? The whole script for the fourth Tomb Raider game leaked,
like
and
2 years ago.
They read it like a play on the podcast, and they got copyright striked for it. Actually, it's so funny.
Go, Colin.
That's pretty funny. Also, I think Podcasts Unlocked did that too.
Did they?
Like 10 years ago for another game. I can't remember which one. But I remember like Marty, Mitch, and Alana doing something on an episode like that. We haven't been on in 2 weeks. Before we get into our main topic, which I'm excited to get to with all you boys. Before we do that, Coach, really quick, what's like the one or two coolest things that you've done the past 2 weeks? Let's try to keep it. You can do it like personal, but I was thinking more like nerd related stuff. But one or two achievements. What do you got?
Okay, so I finished season 1 of X-Men Animated.
Yeah.
So, and I started 2, and holy shit, each episode is a banger, like a 10 out of 10, and it's just getting better and better. Like it seriously leads into the next episode and the next episode after that. So, like these writers were I'm
sorry, Coach.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the original X-Men animated series? Okay.
Yeah, the original. So I'm on season 2, and I don't want to watch the new one until I watch the original. So that's probably the most major nerd thing that I've done. It's been a busy 2 weeks since
Those ones are so good. they're just like perfect soap operas. I love that show so much, like the original. I haven't actually seen 97 yet because I started a marathon, and then I was like, oh, I got to finish this in time before 97, not realizing that 97 came out when it did, and I thought it came out this fall, so I fucked up.
I watch
don't
an
like,
episode
actually-
every morning. So
Oh, so
I don't like actually that they continued X-Men with the new series. I feel like it's kind of odd, like nostalgia grabby. It would have made a lot more sense to continue the Spider-Man cartoon since it literally ends on a cliffhanger. And it was supposed to have another season. They canceled it, but I don't know. Does anyone else feel like it's kind of odd to revive the X-Men animated series 20 years later?
It doesn't really bother me, to be honest. But I haven't watched it yet, so
I haven't watched it either.
And it's
I
got
love
me
the original though. The
into
original
the comics again, so that's good too. So I got Uncanny #1 this last week, so reading that right now.
I got this one today in the mail, Phoenix
Okay,
issue 2.
Phoenix,
Very
yeah.
very excited, and I got Uncanny, and I finally got X Factor yesterday, so I'm excited. I'm
This
checking out
is-
all these reboots after Krakoa.
Yeah. Yep. Reading
Did
it
they
on the
keep-
Fire tablet is so like it's in HD.
Did they
Because you
keep
get a
Jean
large,
Grey?
huge frame.
Did they keep Jean Grey revived, George?
Yeah.
She's still back. So just like
Yeah.
chilling around. Cool.
I like it. Makes the universe bigger. Plus, it's like her chilling with the Starjammers right now, so I'm into it. Seth, what's going on with you? What biggest cool flex you got from the last 2 weeks?
Beat Pedro's ass in the Kaseki race
Hell
by
yeah.
about 12 hours.
Wow, what a
So-
punk! What a dumb punk bitch that Pedro is.
Fucking the Kaseki crown is me, dude. I was like, I had such a head start on him, right? That I was just like casually like having fun, like playing through the game when I got a chance and whatnot. And then this punk bitch beats the game, or not beats the game, beats like 2 of the 5 chapters in like a 24-hour period, and almost caught up to me. And I was like, whoa, all right, time to start spinning some tires here. We gotta go. And yeah,
you guys should actually like. How close does he live to you?
15 minutes now.
You guys should actually like commission like an actual belt or something, like a WWE type belt, and like whoever is holding like the current title, like you should have the belt. You should play the game with the belt over your shoulder. You know, like the way wrestlers walk into the arena, and then whoever wins on the next one gets to keep the. Like I think that would be beautiful.
I
Beautiful
agree.
and
I agree.
poetic.
And I almost wanted to do it, but I didn't. There's another one coming out in the spring, so the race is back next spring.
How do they pump them? How do they pump out games so long and so big so quickly?
I don't know. They're like magicians. I actually have no idea because this one took me about 103 hours to beat, and
jeez.
and
And
they're
it's, and it's
all
high
that long.
quality. And it's high quality.
It's really high quality. It's really crazy. I don't know. They're messing with some black magic over there at Nihon Falcom, and they're doing God's work because the world building is like second to none as far as video games go. It's
So
Do
crazy.
they reuse assets between games? Like, are the enemies ever the same between them? Environments? Do they look
there's
similar?
definitely reused assets because especially in like the Cold Steel series, because that takes place all in one continent. So I think they would update like the resolutions and stuff a little bit, but once they had a city built, they had that city built. So like they could reuse it over and over again. And then they updated the character models slowly throughout the series as well. So I know like from the second game to the third game, a lot of the characters got new models and stuff.
Okay. Final question before we move on to Austin. Is there like source material for this, or is this like a completely original invention by
No,
Nihon
this
Falcom?
this is completely original. It's crazy.
Damn. So they're not
And-
adapting anything. That's wow.
Nope.
And they pump out 100-hour-long games every 14 months, 15 months.
They're like fantasy authors. Like they're just like nonstop pumping out these like world expanding games and
Yeah,
making
but
the world bigger
Seth,
and bigger with
most
more
of the fantasy authors did that with fucking cocaine. So like, that's my point. So I'm just like, how are they doing this?
I don't know. I have no idea.
So
But I think they're planning on you only playing this franchise if you're a fan of it because it's ridiculously long.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that George R.R. Martin needs to go over there and speak to some of those
Yeah.
folks and
think
get some
so.
inspiration.
I think so. Because they are phenomenal. Like the storylines are like really, really great with like really, really characters. And it leaves me with a foreboding sense of emptiness every time I beat one of the games because I've spent so long with them and I don't know what to do with my life once I beat them.
So
Sounds healthy. Yeah.
I really don't know anything about these games. Is it building to something? Like, is the plot working up to something? Like, there will be an ending at some point, or?
Yeah. So there is an overarching like plot that crawls forward that you get like little snippets of every single game, and then in each of like the smaller like series, like you had the Shells in the Sky, you had the Crossbelt duology, and then you had the 4 Cold Steel games. They all have their own encased story that like expands the world because they all take place in different countries, and then expands the world, and you get to know like these characters really intimately well, and it's really interesting because like for instance the Cold Steel games, they took place in a country called Arabonia, and Arabonia is like constantly at war with these other countries. So you got to see like we played the games in I forget the first country's name, but they had been at war with Arabonia like 10 years prior. And then the second set of games took place in like a city state called Crossbell, which takes place between Arabonia and this other massive country called Calvard. And they were at war. And then you went to Arabonia, and then you went to Calvard. So like you got to see like the different angles of this constant conflict from all these different perspectives. And it's a really, really interesting franchise from that point of view, because these characters from all these different places show up, and yeah, it's really neat. It's very much a character driven experience.
I just wish it wasn't so damn long. Like, I would love to play them, but I can't. I just cannot commit 1,000 hours to this.
Is there like a 40
There's no
hour
rush
one?
either. Yeah, I mean I would say the first 3 games are a lot shorter, and the length starts to really get crazy in the Crossbell games. I can actually tell you here. I spent 37 hours in the one Crossbell game, and I spent 45 hours in Trails of Sky the Third. So they're not all 100 hours. Most of that comes in at the Trails and Cold Steel series.
Okay. Austin, what's the coolest flex you got from the last 2 weeks?
Well, I was trying to think of what to say here. I guess I'll just say that when I moved out of my parents' house many years ago, I mean, when I first went off to college, the one thing I didn't bring with me, like from a gaming standpoint, was my Rock Band 4 complete band kit, because the drums were like the main instrument I always used, and I had just moved into this like old apartment with paper thin walls, and thought that playing Rock Band 4 drums in that apartment was not exactly the best choice for my neighbors. And so now that we've purchased this house 10 years later, I went back to my parents' house a couple weeks ago and got that Rock Band 4 kit, which is now extraordinarily expensive if you want to buy one. And Andie and I have been playing it together. So I was a little surprised, because there was a period where I think my parents put it in their attic or something. And I mean, in Georgia, it gets like extremely hot in attics. And so I was a little surprised that everything still worked properly, but it's all fine. The guitar's still fine. The drums are still fine. And we have just been playing that as much as we can together. It's been a fun time going back to Rock Band, because it's been so long since I've played. And I miss it. I mean, I understand why people don't really make those kind of games anymore, although it kind of exists a little bit in Fortnite now. They've got that music mode, and they've released this brand new guitar controller that you can buy, which does work with Rock Band 4. Nice.
I bought 2. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it is still kind of around, but I do miss like Rock Band proper, although 4, of course, is the ultimate version, because you can basically buy any song you could possibly want. So
I bought this set when I was a senior in high school, so like when I was like 17. And man, my friend Ben and I were absolutely obsessed with it. Then we got our friend Sam obsessed with it. And it got to the point where like anytime someone threw a party, I think half the reason we got invited was like, you guys are going to bring Rock Band, right? And we're like, obviously we're fucking bringing Rock Band. You think we're going to talk to you guys? Like, no, we want to we want to play Rock Band. What a special time to be gaming when Rock Band was peaking.
Yeah. Just a quick little side note. I'll never forget this. This was one of my first experiences with Amazon customer support. I bought this full band kit. I think the game had been out for a few months already, so I was not like a day one purchaser. It had probably been out for like 6 months or something. I buy it off Amazon, and it shows up, and it's a it's a French copy of the game. Like the game is in French. It's not even a UK version. It's like some other territory over there, which I'm unfamiliar with. And so, which I don't know why. I mean, I bought it off the US Amazon and it shipped from Amazon. It was not a third party seller. So I reach out to them and they're like, okay, we don't have any more of the band kits, but we'll send you the game and you can just have all your money back and keep the kit. So
wow.
This was, again, over 10 years ago. I got to keep this like $200 kit for free, basically. I didn't pay like anything for it. So it was a good experience.
Amazon needs to chill doing that shit, man. The amount of times I'm like, I would just want to watch like an old 70s movie, and I'm like, fuck, I would love to have the Blu-ray of Mean Streets or something, or like The Sting, just like classic movies that I haven't seen in 20 years or ever. And I'm like, oh, there's a movie called Sorcerer with the guy from Jaws. I should really check that shit out. And I'll go on Amazon after a couple glasses of wine, I'll order it, and like the UK copy will show up. And that happens, especially with movies, less so than games, just because like the licensing is so different between here and there. So like a Blu-ray will be out of print in the States, but still in print somewhere else. And so people will just send it to you. And it sucks, man. Cause like it works in my Xbox, but that's the only thing it works in. Otherwise I have to like change the region, and like you only get X amount of region changes per console or whatever, especially if you watch it on older. Like if I tried to like rip this off my MacBook, it would be like, okay, you can only do this 4 more times, guy. So annoying. That shit should honestly be, I don't want to say like illegal, because I know, what about the people who want to collect the UK Blu-rays? It's like, well, fucking those guys are weird, and I don't care what they want, actually.
There should be like a disclaimer or something, though, when it's in your cart. I mean, there should be some way for the system to know you're buying this Blu-ray or game or whatever it is from a different region and warn you, because again, like you said, I mean, not everybody will buy that Blu-ray and have a way to play it. But no, that's happened to me multiple times. Like and it happens with Nintendo games a lot when they're out of print here. I bought a copy of Kirby Star Allies like years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
18. Yeah,
it was the PAL version that showed up in my mail, and I was so ticked off. So frustrating.
Remember when we would buy new copies, like a game that just released, and what would we get, like 20% off? What was the? This is like
at Walmart.
13. Best Buy had it. Amazon had it. I think Walmart had it too.
Walmart did it too. Yep.
The GameStop tried to start doing it with their like Super Pro rewards card, and that only lasted for like 6 months, and they're like, we can't keep up.
Man, I've been a pro member of GameStop. They just announced that Game Informer's closing. I think I'm finally going to stop being a pro member at GameStop.
I would imagine that's going to happen for like everybody.
Well, because it was $14.99 a year, and you got like a year's worth of magazines. I'm like, all right, like sure, I'll double up, but now it's like, fuck that. Really quick, because we've been talking for a long time. We spent so much time talking about Coach's perfect body. So, I hope
getting there.
Very similar to Coach. Speaking of which, my coolest thing, man, I've been watching Batman Beyond, and like I watched rewatching it now. I had seen a couple episodes when I was a kid. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen it. No, I haven't seen 95% of this show. That show's fucking amazing. That show might be better than Batman the animated series,
and the movie's phenomenal too.
I've seen that Beyond Joker. Absolutely incredible movie. It might be better than the anime. Like, where do you guys stand on that, Austin? I assume you'd like it more just because you're younger.
Dude, I loved that show when I was a kid. I dressed up as Terry McGinnis multiple years when I was a kid for Halloween. Love it. I haven't seen it in years though, so I'm kind of like you, George, where I feel like I've watched it, but it's been 25 years since I've seen it, so I don't know that I really remember any of it.
It's all on Max, and like it's so good. I've been doing like a marathon of like the DC animated universe. So I just did all Batman, then I did all Superman. Now I'm doing Batman Beyond. I just ordered off eBay the Zeta Project, which was a spin-off of Batman Beyond, which I'm not expecting it to be very good, but I'm excited to dip into that. Then Justice League Unlimited.
Amazing. Unlimited, I think, is better because you have more
Yeah.
B characters, right?
Oh my god, that and the Cadmus storyline is so fucking good in Justice League. And then I was gonna go back and do Teen Titans and like the Batman and just like catch up on all the DC animated stuff. And I've just been in a huge DC mood lately. I think that's why I haven't released a short box summary recently.
Have you watched any of the new stuff?
I
The
tried
new
to.
Batman? Yeah.
I haven't seen the Cape Crusader. I've heard really good things, but like those directed DVDs, I'm falling behind on those pretty hard. And they
Not talking
just
about
did.
the Cape Crusader, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard
I
good
saw
things.
one episode. I just couldn't get into it.
Heard good things, but I haven't finished yet. And like they're doing like the Crisis on Infinite Earths direct to DVD storyline,
Yeah.
which I'm dying to check out because I love that
Yeah,
story.
it's
I try to
three movies.
yeah, it's a long one. I try to reread that story like every other year, and in the years I'm not doing it, which is this year, I've been doing the Death and Return of Superman, which has been super fun to just revisit the 90s that way. And those are my cool things.
That's super cool. I did that a few years ago, actually, on Austin's recommendation. The only one I didn't watch was Superman because I'll be honest, I've never been more disinterested in a hero than Superman. I think Superman's the worst.
Yeah.
I hate Superman.
I hated Superman when I was a kid. Now I think he's probably my favorite hero, like probably my favorite DC character.
There's nothing I hate more than the like. Superman's just the answer for every Justice League story, and I'm so tired of it. Well, I'm not tired of it because I haven't read Justice League in probably 10 years, but that was
Also
kind of
sounds like-
everything.
Also sounds like you haven't read any fucking Superman either.
Well, I have read a massive amount of Superman. Actually, I remember when Superman and Wonder Woman were dating, and I thought that was pretty cool, actually. And I was like, man, a little
No, that
different.
sucked.
Little new 52
Sucked ass. That was bad.
Superman Wonder Woman romance story. And
What'd
they
you
had the whole
guys think
comic
of Man of
series, Superman
Steel?
Wonder Woman. The movie? That was the best Dragon
it's
Ball Z movie
okay.
I've ever seen.
I think that movie is dog shit. I think New 52 is dog shit. I am so happy with the current state of Superman comics happening right now. And I get what you mean. I think so far as Superman is like the weakest link in the DC animated universe, but still like pretty fun. It's just kind of like the series itself felt boring. Like not that the stories were boring, but like didn't feel like they were pushing anything. And like, man, every villain so far in the Batman Beyond is a fucking psychopath. Like everyone is insane. Like Spellbinder is an incredible villain. He's like the therapist who can like make you see shit, like make you see your own desires or whatever. Shriek, the sound guy, has been incredible. There's that one guy who like became like molten earth or whatever, and like his body was just like possessed by radioactive vines or whatever underneath Gotham. Everything has been incredibly dark and incredibly messed up. I can't believe this was a children's cartoon. It's so good. But yeah, the Superman show is really boring in comparison. But I'm excited to keep spinning through all this stuff.
Justice League Unlimited is like phenomenal. It's like
it's borderline
top tier.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to our main topic. We've been going for 45 minutes. I think it's time we get to the main course. We are talking, this was Austin's idea, so hats off to Austin for coming up with a fun topic that I enjoyed thinking of, and I think you guys did too. Oh, that's cute. You actually did it. I got my headset. I'm not going to do that. These are the best games that we haven't played. So everyone put on their brainstorming caps. We thought about the games that they haven't played, and Austin and I were talking about it before we started recording. Austin and I kind of have like a caveat where it's like, these are games we want to play, but haven't played.
Isn't
Not
this
just
like the same thing we did last week though?
No, we didn't do a show last week. We held it for this. Yeah.
Maybe you had a show, but we didn't.
Yeah. Did you do a show, Seth?
Yeah, what'd you and Pedro talk about?
Didn't we do the last time we recorded the 5 games we want to play but haven't?
No.
No.
I swear to God, I thought we did this.
No.
All right, I'll just shut the hell up. My mind.
So is that sarcasm you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
or?
No, it's not sarcasm.
Yeah, no, I thought it was an interesting idea I had because, we all have always talked about backlogs and things we haven't played, but I know, I'm sure there's all a list that we all have in our heads of like the top tier games, like the highly regarded games everyone always talks about that we haven't played. So, George.
Yeah. So how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to do like 5 at once and do a dump, or do you want to do like alternating, do 2, then 2, then 2? Like, how do you guys want to do this?
We'll just do one at a time.
Okay, sounds good.
guess.
Coach, let's start with you then. What's one on your list?
All right. So, of all of the games, this is the one that I want to play the most.
Hell
And I need to say that I did, but that is Chrono Trigger. I have to play that game.
Nice.
I have to play that game. So
easy 25, 30 hour RPG.
Right. And so I know it's highly regarded, and yeah. So
I just don't understand why there's not a modern port of that game.
yeah, we got Live Alive, or Live Alive, but not this one.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the best version is supposed to be that DS version, right?
Yeah. And
So
it's really expensive if you want to buy a physical copy.
The DS version that directly connects to the Radical Dreamers edition of Chrono Cross, but that the iOS and Steam versions do not.
Wow. I didn't know
Pull your
that.
head out of your ass, Square. God.
Well, yeah, because they added like extra content to the DS version that is not in the iOS and Android and Steam versions.
Unbelievable. I mean, pretty believable, actually.
and then they fixed the remaster of Chrono Cross, because that came out and that was kind of like
it was really
that was
bad.
pretty bad.
Broke my heart.
Yeah, but I think since then they have fixed it.
Yes.
Listen, what's on your list?
So I was trying to think about this, and this is kind of a non-answer, so my apologies, but I'm just going to give a series because I have not touched any of these. Jak and Daxter. I've never played a single Jak and Daxter game at all. And, you know, I've played Ratchet. I've played some of the Sly games. I don't think I played 3 or 4. But Jak, you know, my love for Naughty Dog, I've played basically everything they've ever made, except for some reason, every single Jak game. I have not played or owned any of them. And so I'd love to go back and play those. And I feel like I need to soon, just so that I can get like an understanding of where they went after Crash Bandicoot. Because I'm sure we'll certainly have a new Naughty Dog game ahead of us at some point in the next year or two.
They're okay. Gotta be honest. I think they're fine. Like they remastered the first one for PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
And they had like that collection on PlayStation 3. I think they're okay. Honestly, I think my favorite game in that universe is the Daxter PSP game that was made by Ready at Dawn, where you just play as Daxter, no Jak. I like that one the most. But I think it's actually, you like 3D platformers, so I bet you'll have more fun with it than I do. But it just felt like kind of a collect-a-thon. And I think it probably would have been more fun in the day and revisiting it, because like I start that game up like every 6 months. I'm like, dude, just get the platinum and delete it. Just get the platinum and delete it. And then I play it for an hour and I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, I'm gonna do something else.
Jak 2 and Jak 3, though, they became more like Ratchet and Clank with like a lot more
combat games.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed. I never played Jak 3, but I really, really enjoyed Jak 2. So.
And there was combat racing too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that on the PSP?
No,
that was on
a...
PS2, but it might have been a port from PSP.
I think the only PSP one was the Daxter game.
Right? No, there was a Jak and Daxter game as well, but I forgot
Frontiers or something.
I don't remember who made it. I'm just curious.
No, I definitely bought that on PSP store before that closed. Damn, Seth, what's on your list, my guy?
All right, my number one pick for games that are great but I have not played yet. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh.
Never touched it. Wanted to play it. waiting for a cowboy mood to pop up. That's where I'm at. Everything it looks about it, I'm like, damn, this looks really great. And every time I go to start it up, I'm like, I don't have the amount of patience to be this immersed in something. So then I get distracted and put it away.
It's my problem with Red Dead Redemption 2 is my same problem with like Madden over the past 10 years. Is like, wow, you guys really figured out how to like simulate life.
Yeah.
I actually don't have the brain capacity to be like a successful NFL coach, which is why I don't enjoy playing Madden anymore. And I don't have the patience to be a fucking cowboy. So that's why I didn't really enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2. Everything about it is like probably the best that's ever been done in a video game. Like everything about it's immaculate, impressive. Like they'll be studying it 10 years from now, being like, how did they do this in 2017 or whatever? But I'm like, yeah, man, remember the whole thing about like being a cowboy? Like it kind of sucks. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
life on the frontier was a little shitty, huh?
Yeah, not the easiest life. Yeah.
I'm just gonna like bust on in here so we don't go through this again. That is also one of my 5 is Red Dead Redemption 2. But I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Seth. I have it, I think, on PS4, although I kind of want to buy it on PC because I'm sure it runs a lot better. Every time I sit down and think about it, I'm like, man, everybody speaks so highly of this game. I know, Seth and I are both avid listeners of Sacred Symbols, and both Colin and Chris on there constantly are like talking about how it's one of the best games they've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I sit down and think about doing it, I just see the how long to beat page in the back of my head, and I see that it's 25 hours for the main story, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Well, like for me though, it's more about like how slow the characters like move, and how slow searching buildings is, and how there's a fucking like 5-hour intro to the game.
Right.
The intro is pretty sweet though, because you do get to like blow up a train off the tracks and then rob the train like that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then it's like you going through like the snow mountains trying to find any kind of food in like a deserted cabin. I'm like, okay, if you like explain what's happening, it sounds sweet. But trudging through the snow this fucking slowly when it's like this hard to see what's in front of you. Again, I understand you're setting up a world. I get that. But like I like a more arcadey experience. I like the first Red Dead Redemption more. I might even like Red Dead Revolver more than Red Dead Redemption 2, just because like infinitely more impressive game, but like, man, there was a bunch of stuff they could have just not made me do.
I think my problem is I adore the first Red Dead Redemption. That's like one of the best games for sure of that generation. But then Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and I think I was just so burned by the length of that game. I just remember sitting there playing like the single player before the multiplayer had released, which is weird to think about, by the way, in hindsight, when they released this game and didn't put the multiplayer out for months. But I just remember sitting there playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and the game just went on and on and on and on and on and would not stop. It would never end, is what it felt like at that time. And from what I know, Red Dead Redemption 2 is even longer than that game. So that's my concern. But I do really want to play it. It does look good, and I feel like it's one I need to play.
Mexico and the original Redemption, am I right? Yeah. Really slows the game down when you go to Mexico.
Never played it.
Oh, super fun. I haven't played the port remaster thing, but like
dude, that zombie DLC.
Because it was 2009, I think, on PlayStation 3 and 3. Like, what? Fuck, I can't believe that game was that old, but that good. My first game. Seth, you might be mad at what I say is my second game, but this I think is like more interesting to me. Portal 2.
Oh,
never played Portal 2.
Dude, what a game.
I remember Portal Combat Day in 2010. I was living in England at the time, and I didn't have my consoles with me. And I came back after the PlayStation Network had been fixed, because it came out 3 days before it went down. But I had a falling out with my roommate back in Burlington, who I played every video game with. We always did shit together. We put 400 hours into Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Borderlands, we got the platinum, like we did all that shit together, and I was so excited for Portal 2, and then we just like never spoke again. And that guy like kind of broke my heart, to be honest. I didn't think he ended up being a very good friend. But I just never had anyone to play Portal 2 with. And that breaks my heart a little bit now. I wonder if the online is still functioning for PC, and maybe we could get a little Steam Deck action going on there, Seth.
Yeah. I wasn't aware that it was like multiplayer.
Yeah, there's one campaign that is just 2-player.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's really good. George, that
This
was my first platinum.
Portal 2?
Yep. That was my
Damn.
first platinum. One of the best games I've ever played.
This was going to be on my list, but it got edged out. This would be like 6th or 7th.
No, edging is hot, so that's fine.
Yep.
As long as Portal 2 is hot.
The,
Coach, what's your next? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say quickly, the Switch port of Portal 1 and 2 is really good. I don't know why they didn't bring those to PlayStation and Xbox. Those came out maybe 2 years ago now.
I would love to get it, but I bought a Steam Deck, so I'm just going to play them there.
Hell yeah.
Coach, what's game number 2 for you?
All right, next on my list is I just installed it on my Series S, and that is the Mass Effect remaster.
Ooh.
Yes. So
Nice.
a shooter mixed in with some RPG elements, I guess. And I'm ready for a good story, like a good story that's going to draw me in, that when I just think about it during the day, and I can't wait to get to my room to play an hour and a half.
So you've never played any of the Mass Effects before?
Mm-mm.
Oh
Be a
man,
treat.
I'm so excited for you. Especially with all the boomer shooters you've been playing lately, I think you're gonna appreciate the design of the first game. First game's combat, not super awesome, but the story's probably the best of the 3, right? I think we could all agree that,
Yeah.
like that conversation wheel and
But
all the
did
side shit you do.
They did improve the combat in the first one, the re-release, though.
I just remember for 3, at the internet was just like, I mean, video games and internet, like in 12, maybe 13 or whatever. I just remember the backlash on what people were saying about the ending of 3. So
Yeah, people are being kind of babies about it. I thought
It was such a mistake that BioWare did something about it. I think
They should have left it as is. I agree with you.
They should have.
Those
Like,
endings that were in the game were fine.
It set such a dangerous precedent for what people think they deserve from art.
Well, also, like, they didn't really change anything with the ending. They just gave people the satisfaction of being like, oh, we made them do that. And then they never stopped. Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, fuck. Like, Mona Lisa's not smiling that much. Leonardo, fix the painting and make her smile more. It's like, you would never say that in 99% of context of art. And for some reason, gamers think they can. It's fucking infuriating, man. And again, like, it just set such a scary precedent for game developers at this point, where it's just like, okay, I guess we're beholden to everything the customer wants, as opposed to like telling them what they want. No one told them to make the first Mass Effect game. Like, no one told them to fix that one. Whatever. Coach, that is a great trilogy. Do you know if you're going to be back stateside by the holidays?
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
Right before.
Because they're like really good games. They are as long as you want them to be. Like, the first game can be 45 to 50 hours, or it could be like 15. If you just want to cruise through and just do the main story, you totally can, and you'd be very satisfied with what you're dealing with. Or you could be like, hold on, I haven't explored this planet in this distant galaxy. Let me go see what's going on over there. So it's kind of variable like that. Mass Effect 2 can be as streamlined as you want. You get rewarded more the more you explore. In Mass Effect 3, if you did explore in 1 and 2, you're going to be like, I can't believe this is the end. I'm going to explore everything. But there's also kind of a ticking clock in the background, so you're going to be a little hesitant to pull the trigger on doing some things, which I think is really good design. So I'm excited for you to play it for the first time, and I think the holidays is a great time to just rip into them. Austin, you're up next, Big Chief.
Well, I gave my second one, which was Red Dead 2, so you could either skip me here, or I could give my third one, whatever you.
Gonna skip you here. Fuck stick. Seth, what is your second game?
I I have mine in like a no particular order list, but I think the next one that I wanted to talk about was the Ninja Gaiden series, the
Oh,
reboot one, the Ninja Gaiden
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. And I've never played them, and I always heard they were great. They always looked real cool. I remember when I was a kid, a teenager, watching G4 and seeing them like talk about the girl with like her she's wet all the time, the blonde girl with her boobs out all the time. I remember that very vividly. Um,
when
For
you're
some
13,
reason.
you say
For some reason.
It's so weird. It's so weird that that sticks out to 13-year-old Seth. That's strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's real cool. But I've never
Wet,
played it.
wet boobs, big fan. Yeah, seems cool.
Big
Yeah.
big fan of wet boobs. But yeah, it looks really cool. I don't know. I've never gotten around to them. It's one of those games that like if new games got released for like a year, that would be a series that I'd probably get into. But I just have so much other stuff that's ahead of it that I've never gotten to it.
Man, so you're talking about like the series that started on like the original Xbox, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
Ninja Gaiden. Okay, my friend Jamie bought Ninja Gaiden Black for original Xbox, and he would bring it over and we'd play it at my place. And I was convinced that was the most beautiful video game I'd ever seen. Like I was like, I can't believe it looks this good. And then I started playing it. I was also convinced this is the hardest video game that's ever been created ever. And I remember like my friend Jamie was just in a boss fight, and I was just like sitting there like eating Cheez-Its next to him, watching him play at my house. And he's like, shit, I'm out of Nimpo. How am I supposed to do this without any Nimpo? And he was just like screaming at the TV and getting by on like just by the skin of his teeth. And like we thought we had beat the game. And like absolutely not. We had not beaten the game. And he's just like, wait, there's more? That like we just fight the devil? Didn't we just do it? And then the game is just like, oh, you still have so much more to go, you sweet summer child. Super fun. I think there was actually, if you still have your Vita, I think they did Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is like a remake of the first one on Vita. So I played that. That one was pretty fun. That was a PlayStation Plus game, so I assume you have that in your cart somewhere.
I feel like those games got re-released like 1,000 times.
I think they did actually do like a PS4 and like Xbox One re-release as well. I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember that from a few years ago.
My second game, I don't even want to talk about it that much because like I do plan on playing it later this year. Final Fantasy VII, like the original PlayStation 1 release. I am halfway through Final Fantasy 3 in my Final Fantasy marathon. Really enjoying it. I know Seth said to just skip ahead. I agree that that was probably like the right thing to do in hindsight. Just because these games feel like the best generic fantasy I've ever done, but it is extremely generic and non-special, the first 3 Final Fantasy games anyway. And I feel like 4 is where they start to get special. So I should have jumped ahead, but Final Fantasy VII, huge glaring blank spot in my gaming career. Coach, what is your third game?
Okay, so the rest of my games are going to be pretty much keyboard and mouse because I really want to get better at it, right? So I do want to go through the original Doom 1, 2, and then Doom 64. And then once I get home and I upgrade my PC, 16 and 2016 version, and then the reboot, and then Eternal.
So
What's the
basically,
new one that takes place in hell?
Say again?
What's the new one that's coming out where it was like crushing the skulls? They showed it at E3.
Gosh,
Medieval?
Dark Ages?
Dark Ages, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that game looks fucking sick. That game looks great.
Yes. It looks so good.
Any interest in Quake or strictly Doom?
Oh, it's on my list.
Oh,
Right.
Sorry. No, that's sick. So do you want to play like the originals or do you want to play the up-resed ones that they just updated, right?
Probably the new ones, but right now I think people have tried to get it into GZ Doom and it's not working too well because GZ Doom, I think you have more control options, right? You could point up and down and the original you can't. But I know Austin was kind of talking about the idea of going through those because we can play co-op with those, right?
Yeah, they added 4-player online co-op to Doom 1 and 2.
Man, I don't know how to tell you guys this. We have 4 people on this podcast.
I know.
Yes.
Look at that.
And if you own Doom 1 or 2, the originals on Steam or any system for that matter, you get both of them, the remasters, just for free. So
pretty sweet.
So I think it was Machine Games and Night Dive Studios that worked on it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I regret to inform you that this holiday you will not be playing Mass Effect. You'll be playing Doom 1 and 2, full 4-player multiplayer with the rest of us instead. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
We should do that though. That seems like a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
That sounds
I agree.
fun. Austin, what is your game number 3?
Okay, so I could go with several different games here, but I think I'm going to go with this one because this is a kind of a unique pick. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, cool.
That is my honorable mention because I don't like Metroidvanias, but that is like the biggest game that I haven't played. Hit me.
So when I was younger, I played Castlevania 1 and 2 on NES, and I don't think I beat 2, but I did beat 1 and enjoyed them. But that's really my only experience with that series. I never played any further games. I know they had those kind of like God of War style games on PS3. I heard the first one was good, second one not so much. But Symphony of the Night, everybody always talks about, and never played it. So I need to play that at some point. And I do have, they ported that game and Rondo
Blood.
Yeah. Blood. Yeah, I was going to say Nightmare, but that doesn't sound right. So they ported those games to PS4 like 4 or 5 years ago in a collection, and I do have it. So I just need to sit down and play them.
I remember when Costco was selling the PS1 greatest hits, and Symphony of the Night was in one of those. Good times. And then you had the newer version, which is Bloodstained. Remember Bloodstained came out about 4 years ago?
Yeah. I heard it was pretty good still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard there were frame rate issues, but then that was fixed in like a pretty early patch, and now like that game seems great. It's always on sale too on PSN anyway.
And then what was that one game that just got such bad reviews? Was it Mighty Zero?
Oh, Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9.
I forgot about
that. He made Mega Man.
Yeah.
And then he had the another Kickstarter for like Red Turbo or something like that. Yeah, it never came to be.
Wasn't he doing?
I think it was
like
to
a penguin character too?
Mighty Number 9.
Yeah. Then there was that whole scam with Mega Man Legends 3 Kickstarter, whatever happened there. I can't really recall. That was so long ago, but a bunch of nonsense.
Wasn't the Mega Man guy also doing a game starring a penguin, or did I make that up?
I have no idea.
It feels right. Like I feel like I was
I don't know.
reading an IGN news article at a Chinese restaurant in college, being like, "Oh no way, that's so interesting." Anyways, do you like Metroidvanias at all, Austin? I feel like I never really talk about it. Like I know you got into Dread, but
yeah, I haven't really played too many of them aside from the Metroid games themselves. I mean, I love Super Metroid. I love Dread. I played a bit of Axiom Verge and liked that for what it was, but those are really my only experience. But I do like them from what I've played, so I would imagine I would like Symphony of the Night. Although I guess the other one I'm thinking of that's also technically a Metroidvania in a way would be Jedi Fallen Order, and that game, while I love it now, took me a while to fully get into. So
had to learn to love that one.
Yeah.
Survivor.
That was an acquired taste.
Jedi Survivor's
amazing. Say that again, Seth.
Jedi Survivor still top notch.
Is it really?
Yeah,
dude. The last 4 or 5 hours of Jedi Survivor might be like my favorite piece of Star Wars ever.
I stayed up until 4 a.m. because I'm like, I have to see where this goes. Like I'm punishing myself for work the next day because I couldn't put the controller down. Right
when you think the game's about to end, it like kicks you right in the chest, and you're like, oh no, this has to happen now. Like I got to figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
Seth, your game number 3.
Oh yeah, my game number 3, brother. Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Oh,
it's the only Uncharted game I've ever played. So by the end of Uncharted 4, I was like, I'm over this, because I just felt I've mentioned this many times, but Uncharted 3, and then I felt like especially 4, it doesn't give you a moment to rest. in those games. It doesn't give you any moment that like slows down. So by the end of those games, I just felt completely exhausted. And I'm not really a Last of Us guy. I've just come to realize that. But I do like the Uncharted games. I really want to see, what Lost Legacy was, because everyone tells me how great it is. And I've just never gotten around to it. So that is definitely one. And I'm a big fan of Chloe. I like Chloe a lot. So
her character is one of the most interesting in that franchise, I think, just from like a story perspective. But dude, the best part about that game, first off, it's better than 4 in my opinion. But the best part about that game is it's just like Miles Morales, it's condensed. It's like 6 hours, 7 hours. It's the perfect length for that kind of game.
I did not know that. I got stuck halfway through 4 because I'm just like, I just don't like the way this feels. Like, it felt like they were like, what if we made it such a realistic way of an old man running around a field? I'm like, that actually sucks. Like, I don't want to feel like an old man stuck in a field in England looking for lost treasure. I miss like the arcadey responsive nature of the first 3. And so because of that, I never finished 4, and I didn't check out Lost Legacy because I assume that it's just more like super realistic momentum movement, and I'm like, I just don't like how that feels. But hearing that it's 6 hours, I'm like, I could play something I don't like how it feels for 6 hours. that I can do.
Yeah, so I just looked on how long to beat. It is it says main story only is 7 hours, and then main plus sides is 8.5. So that's about right.
That is great. I've got 3 more games on my list. I'm trying to decide which order I could say them that would offend you guys the least. I am very excited for Seth's reaction. I'm going to say Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but not 3.
Good.
Like this series, Kingdom Hearts,
that's good.
but not 3.
Yep.
Just because like the PlayStation 2 Kingdom Hearts feel like a vibe, and the PlayStation 4 Kingdom Hearts 3 is a vibe I'm not interested in. I am so excited for. I remember the commercials airing all the time for Kingdom Hearts 2 with like crazy intense J-pop, just the English lyrics from a J-pop song. And it seemed like the biggest secret was Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, whereas like the most popular obscure thing that wasn't mainstream but was still like on TV. I feel like I saw t-shirts and action figures of it, like whenever I went to the mall and saw like Hot Topic, or even like I feel like B. Dalton had like a section that was like a bookstore in the Northeast. It had like a section.
We had it too, B. Dalton.
Hell yeah. But like that era seems like such a specific vibe that like I'm trying to better understand. I was busy on PlayStation 2. I was playing my movie tie-in games and my Star Wars Battlefronts. I was pretty happy, pretty satisfied. But Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 were 2 that just passed me by.
Kingdom Hearts series is weird because Kingdom Hearts 2 is both best narratively and the best gameplay wise, and
not the best game, not the best Kingdom Hearts game.
No, it is. Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best game.
Oh, yeah.
But they're like, oh, they like it when we make things crazier and crazier. Let's just keep on that track to where you get into Kingdom Hearts 3 and the story no longer makes any sense, and you're using Disney World rides as combat moves.
And the mobile game is vital to understanding what happens at the end.
Like Birth by Sleep?
No, like the Android and iPhone mobile game, you have to know what happened in that game to understand the end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
What a cool way to design a world, yeah.
Right?
And the only plot that matters is the last 10% of Kingdom Hearts 3. The rest of it is completely matters nothing to the overall story.
Coach, what is your 4th game?
Okay, so 4th is going to be, I'm going to have to wait to get these on PC when I upgrade, because I do the remasters or the remakes have ray tracing, and that is Half-Life 1 and 2.
Good ones.
Yes.
Coach, we're on the same page. That's my next one.
Yeah.
Half-Life 1 and 2. Never played them.
That was also one of mine.
That is an honorable mention for me because I played several hours of 2, never played 1, but like I felt like if I had played some of the game, I didn't include the game on the list. I'm like, oh, I played it, but like never beat it. Let's talk about it, man. Those games seem rad. Those games seem great. Those games seem really important. Coach, does this fall under their boomer shooter category to you? I know it's not the same as Quake, but this is kind of one of the old pillars, one of the grandfathers of first-person shooting.
Right. So Jeff, who's the guy that does the VGAs?
Jeff Bezos.
No.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Jeff Kanata. Yeah.
So
Jeff
when he
Bridges.
was a teenager, he did this really cool documentary, I think, on
it's good.
Yeah, on Half-Life. And so that really got me to like, that really set the tone for me to be like, okay, I have to experience this one day. And now that they've been remastered and there's ray tracing, I'm like, okay, so first thing I'm going to do when I get home is get a graphics card that will have that, and then go ahead
Wait a
and play
second.
through those. So
Why is yours red?
Because I got the OLED.
wait, show it again.
Oh.
Red what?
For audio listeners, George is showing his Steam Deck case.
Oh, mine's blue.
You're talking. Oh, okay. You're talking about the little dot.
So
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Coach, but they remastered the second one. I know the fan people, they did that Black Mesa remake of the first one, but I didn't know there was like a remake of the.
I think so. I think they did it in ray tracing. Maybe it's just one, but I almost positive that one of those got a remaster.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They apparently NVIDIA. I guess I don't know if it's out or not. I'll have to look into this, but apparently they announced like a ray tracing version of Half-Life 2, which is interesting. Yeah, I've always wanted to play those games. I never really had a way to play them. I guess there was the orange box on PS3, but I think I found out about them so late in that generation that
ran like shit on PS3 anyway.
Yeah, I heard it was terrible.
Yeah. Roommate had the 360 version. We mostly just played Portal together and just like swapping the controller back and forth for puzzles. And then like one day I was just like playing Half-Life 2 and I was just like, oh damn. Like this is like it definitely feels like you're playing a PC game. I've never seen like a reticule that small, like a crosshair that tiny in the middle of a screen before. It just felt very mouse precise. But man, that's good. That should be like we should do like we've talked about this before. I think it'd be great if we actually held to it. But if we had like a month to beat a game, like I feel like Half-Life or Half-Life 2 should be like our book club game.
How long are they?
I like
They're
that.
about 20 hours, aren't they?
I think they're less than that. I think the first one at least is like maybe 12 to 14. Which also is like way too long for a shooter, let's be real.
How long to beat says for the first one, main story 12 hours, main plus sides 14, completion is 15 and a half.
Boom, nailed it.
That's about right. And then 2 is about the same. About 13 for main story, 15 and a half for main and sides.
Hell yeah.
So
wait, was that all of your fourth game?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I mean, it was one of mine.
Okay. Just going with that for 4. All right. Going for my fourth. I played a couple hours of the second game. I played 20 minutes of the first game, and I found it so obtuse and so boring. I am dying to play Metal Gear Solid 3.
Wow.
Never spent any time with 3. I watched my neighbor play it. He was really into it when I lived in LA. Got really lucky. I had very cool neighbors when I was living in like this weird like old converted hotel into an apartment complex. This guy named Eben. Shout out Eben. He's still alive, but like had to throw the kiss into this guy.
He's out there.
Dude was obsessed with Metal Gear Solid 3, and I'm like, I've never played this. I think those games are so hard to understand, and so he just played it and like let me watch for the first couple hours. I would love to check it out, and I bought that Metal Gear Solid collection. I would love to finally understand those games. I'm afraid I will try and not understand them. So, what can you do?
Why wouldn't you understand it?
I think I remember buying Metal Gear Solid 4 when I first got my PlayStation 3. I'm like, this is supposed to be a great game. And then like I just plugged it in, and then it was just like a half hour of the most incomprehensible bullshit I've ever seen ever. And then I think I played. Is that like with the frying egg? Was that the first half hour?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Okay, so
to be fair,
clear, you jumped into the fourth entry of the series. Of the really
I'm sorry. Is Metal Gear Solid 3 a clean entry point into understanding the great tapestry? Well, it's like a prequel to the first 2 games, but I assume like it is like setting up the dominoes that we see get knocked down. So it's actually not going to be that fucking special because that's setting up dominoes. It's not knocking them down. So I'm like, well, is this supposed to mean something? Oh, it'll mean something if you played 1 and 2.
If you're gonna enter,
well, okay, yeah, it does take place 30 years before. I get that, but I'm saying like it's setting up dominoes that are knocked down in 1, 2, and 4. So like, am I really going to give a shit just seeing them get set up? Is that going to mean anything to me if I don't play 1, 2, then 3, then 4? Like with these games, I understand it's a prequel, but I feel like you got to do it chronologically, right? Like release order chronologically.
I don't think so personally. I played 3, 1, 2, 4, and I felt like I got a really nice experience out of it. I was quite pleasantly surprised. Didn't play 5, didn't care about 5 by that point. I felt like 4 wrapped up the story nicely, but
okay.
I've seen people do it different ways, though. I've seen it people do, like Seth just said, and start with 3 and then go 1, 2, 4, which is chronological. And I've seen, people do what I did, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, Peace Walker 5, which is release order. The biggest issue I would tell you, George, is that if you start with 3 and you decide you do want to go back to the originals to 1 and 2, gameplay-wise, that's
could be harder.
The hardest thing. So
I think I remember 1 having tank controls.
1 is rough to control.
Even on GameCube, that 1 is such a pain in the ass to control. When they were like, "Let's fix this," I'm like, "All right, this still sucks." Are you playing the collection, like the new one? Awesome.
That's where I was playing it. I played through 1 and 2 on there earlier this year, and I got about halfway through 3, and then we bought our house, and I stopped. But yeah, that's where I was playing it, and it was fine. I know there were a lot of complaints about, I guess the colors are a little off, but even as like a longtime Metal Gear fan, unless you've got like screenshots of both held up side by side, I don't think you're really going to notice. So,
all right.
All right.
Coach, give us a 5th game, please.
All right, last one for me, like said earlier, is Quake 1, 2, and 3.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Quake 1 and 2 are good. Those ports are good from Night Dive.
3 there is a campaign, so see how that one is. And they're co-op also, right?
Mm-hmm. They are.
So there we go. Doom, Quake. We'll be
the guns are
hell.
the guns are way weirder in Quake. I think I like it more than Doom.
Yeah. It's a little more modern too. Being able to do your vertical aiming and kind of control like a standard shooter does nowadays. So they're good games.
I wish you guys had an opportunity to experience QuakeCon.
Is it still going on?
Yeah. So it's just this huge, one of the ballrooms at whatever hotel, right? Motel, whatever. And there's thousands of people. It's dark. They have their systems lit up. And it's just it is the most fun and happiest vibe for 72 straight hours. People are just talking to each other. They're all from all over the US, right? And it's just it's a good time. And I went in 13, and oh shit, that was a good time. So
that's fun.
Yeah. But they play a lot of Quake. Tournament shit.
Playing Fortnite.
I think I do like Quake more than Doom. Like, granted, like most of my time spent with both series. Like, I played 2016 Doom and didn't touch the sequel, but like N64 was a great time to be playing those shooters. And Doom 64 versus Quake 64, I was always more hyped to be playing Quake 64 just because it felt weirder. It felt more Y2K-y, which I was really into in like 97, 98 when it came out. And I think it came out a year after Doom 64. Plus Doom 64 I think was like remastered for modern consoles, and like it's sick that like that version, because it wasn't like a port, it was like a spin-off game. And Quake 64 I think was a port and not a spin-off game, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, those games are just sick. Like the logo is sick for Quake. It just feels honestly, it feels more scary to me than Doom.
Doom's a little
It
more
feels more-
silly.
Yeah, it feels more like Clive Barker, like Hellraiser style, which like is a bit scarier. The Cenobites or whatever that shit was.
And then Hexen is also on 64.
I didn't play Hexen. I got really into Forsaken on N64, which feels like a similar, like you're actually like a pilot for hell or something. God, all that shit was so hardcore. What a time. I know we're talking about PlayStation 3, but what a time. Mid 90s, late 90s. Thank you, Batman Beyond. Austin, what's your next game?
Okay, so this is our 5th one, right? Is that what
Yes.
we're on? Okay, so just honorable mention quickly. Hollow Knight. Everybody talks about that game as like it's the best indie game of all time, the best platformer of all time. I need to play it at some point, maybe before the second one releases 15 years from now. But no, my number 5 would actually be The Witcher 3.
Oh.
Never played it, really?
I
New
never,
version alert, bud.
dude. I bought The Witcher 3. I think I got it the year it came out, not at launch, but maybe that Black Friday or something. I have a copy sitting over there on my shelf for PS4, and I may have put like 20 minutes into it. So I'm not really counting as, having played it before. But I know it's been when did that game come out? Was that like 2015, 2016?
Early 2015.
Yeah.
15 sounds right.
So it's almost a decade old at this point, but I still do really want to go back and play it. I actually went, and I think my original plan was going to be to read the first 2 books that were written, that are like the collection of short stories. And George, I read them. I read those books. I finished them, and then I never went back and played 3. That was my goal, and I just never went back to 3. So I know
You're
about
such a dork.
I know about that world. I know about the characters. I just never played the game.
Can't believe
Good.
you're married, you fucking nerd.
So,
I
and
always
they've got that
recommend
next gen
playing,
port.
I always recommend playing Witcher 3 on like hard mode because it really makes you. Because I feel like the combat is the weakest part of The Witcher 3 because it's like kind of floaty and a little light. But if you play it in hard mode, it really forces you to be tactical and like read about your enemies, use the correct poisons, use the correct spells, and really be tactical with it. You can't really brute force your way through it unless you're like really really good. But The Witcher 3 is so good, just narratively and like
Yeah, that
You're
world is
remember-
awesome.
phenomenal.
I remember the trailer where he pulls up on his horse and there's like a couple girls that just got hung from a tree,
They're witches, yeah.
witches. And I'm like, whoa, this is badass.
Yeah, man, and that excellent soundtrack in those trailers and stuff too.
What
Yeah.
was the release like on that? Was it kind of a mess like what Cyberpunk was and they eventually fixed
No.
it?
It's perfect.
I pre-ordered that game on PlayStation 4. That was like the first time I ever like didn't want the physical copy. I just wanted it because I knew it was supposed to be super long, so I just wanted it on my console at all times. And that was back when they did like 10% off for a new pre-order. And the game was fucking butter. Like I remember like seeing that game being like, Skyrim is cooked.
Yeah.
Like Bethesda's cooked. Because I don't understand how you can make a world this big, this detailed, this intense, and the game is great and like the gameplay is smooth. Seth, I'm going to disagree with you for the same reason I disagree about the harder difficulties on like Jedi Survivor, where like at that point in the story, the way everyone was talking about Geralt or whatever his name is, I was just like, oh, I'm supposed to be hot shit. So like I'm going to play this a little easier just so I feel like I am hot shit because everyone's talking about me like I'm hot shit. And I started Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order or whatever. I started those on harder difficulties, and as the game progressed, I started lowering the difficulty just to be like, oh, I'm becoming a better Jedi. So like that was like my own meta narrative shit going. But no, Witcher 3 is fucking incredible. I have not played it on Switch, which seems like an excellent place to play it if it can handle it, but I'm not sure if it can. So I would look up reviews, Austin, if that's something you are interested in, because it really is like Skyrim style. Like, oh, there's something that's marked on my map. Let me go check it out. And you just knock it out, in 20 minutes before going to bed or something.
I've heard it's a pretty decent port. I don't think it would be one I would sit there and play like docked, but if I would just wanted to play handheld, I've heard it was decent. And I think it's actually got cross save with the Steam version, so you can transfer your save to and from.
That's really cool.
What about 2? Have you guys played 2 on
Assassins of Kings? No, I haven't.
It's really good. 2's really good.
2 is way more like linear though, right? Like you're playing like levels in the game as opposed to the world, right?
Yes. Witcher 2 is what got me into the series. I played Witcher 1, never played that much of it because it's like very non-linear and like ambiguous on what you're supposed to do. But Witcher 2 is like a really streamlined narrative experience. It's really, really good. The character designs are jarringly different in The Witcher 3, though. Like, jarringly different. They made The Witcher 3, they made everyone look like a little more human, especially Geralt. But yeah, dude, Witcher's a great series to jump into. I know they're remaking Witcher 1, so hopefully they improve
That's
that.
what I heard too.
Did you play Witcher 2 on 360?
No, I played it on PC.
Okay.
I'll just never forget, and this is my last point, I'll never forget when The Witcher 3 came out. It was like less than a year after Dragon Age Inquisition, and everybody that year, because it had been a pretty slow year, was like, oh, Dragon Age is amazing. Such a perfect game, and it won all these Game of the Year awards. And then Witcher 3 came out, and everybody was like, never mind.
Yeah, no. Ate its lunch. My beautiful, my perfect, my Sethala. What is your 5th game?
A little more of a more recent game, Hades. I always heard Hades was like phenomenal, and I wanted to play it.
Yes.
Never got around to it, but apparently it's like one of the best games I've never played. So that's on my list at some point, someday when I want to play a roguelike.
It is a damn good video game, Seth. That is, I'm not a big fan of the roguelites. Likes? What's the term? Is it likes? I don't know.
I think it's light.
Like.
I just got 2 different answers.
Well, there's those are 2 different genres.
Okay. Well, whatever it is.
Hades is a roguelite.
I'm not a big fan of those type of games, but that game, the way it plays and the mechanics that are built in, it lets you level up between each run. And so you, as a character, get stronger. And it's not just about skill, which I appreciate it. It's not just...
Okay, that's a light. And then a roguelike is a game that is like the game Rogue.
Yes.
Right? And then a roguelite is one that's like, yeah, it's kind of like it, but not really. Because Rogue was, I think, one of the first like procedurally generated worlds, right? Where you'd go in and every time you went to a dungeon, it'd be okay. Sorry, that is a good answer. That should be my 5th answer. You're right, and like they're doing Hades too, right?
I think it already came out.
It's in
early access is out.
Oh, okay.
So do you have any interest in going to Hades 1, or do you just want to check out 2, or do you want to compare them?
Oh no, I would just do Hades 1 because Hades 1's so quickly acclaimed that I would think that would be the one I'm going to start with. It's recent enough that I don't feel like it's
missing.
Yeah, it holds up super well. The soundtrack in that game is absolutely stellar. The art design is like some of the best I've ever seen. I haven't beaten it. I've gotten pretty close, but it's excellent.
It's still so wild to me that studio is headed up by like Greg Kasavin, who like I remember from like GameSpot days, as like the smartest guy who was just like so bad at like presenting on a video. Like he was just so bad at like doing like narration and like knowing how to make an interesting video and would just like kind of like read like an essay basically, as opposed to like trying to like make something work. And then made like Transistor, Hades, Pyre, just like all these like beloved games that are so weird and niche and beautiful. Bastion, like all this weird shit.
Bastion's great.
Pretty cool.
It is.
My 5th and final game, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
Oh, you've never played it?
I have gotten to the part where you're supposed to herd goats in the beginning, and I found that to be the most annoying fucking thing in the world. That I just like long. I remember getting stuck on that part. Like I bought the GameCube game and it wasn't like cheap. I bought it for like $35 like in 2009. I think I was like a sophomore in college and I was like trying to buy all the GameCube games while they were on super sale from GameStop. And buying that, I'm just like, all right, this is gonna be my first Zelda game because I never beat Ocarina of Time. I never played Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask could also be on this list, but I'm way more interested in Twilight Princess. And man, that fucking tutorial was just so mind-numbingly boring that I like took the game out. I was like, I'm just gonna play Rogue Squadron for the 19th time. I think that'd be a better use of my time. Yeah, coach. Yeah, you get it. Yeah. But Twilight Princess, it seems sick. I keep waiting for a Wind Waker or a Twilight Princess port to Switch. I can't believe they just didn't do that. Because I would love a chance to revisit that game. I tried Skyward Sword on Switch, and I got further in the Switch version than I did on the Wii version. But that is just such an annoying game to play. I just want like a straight Zelda game, like the old Zelda games. That's not Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or whatever.
I find for me, it's hard to go back and play the linear 3D games after playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like I got spoiled with those, but going back and playing the top down, I could do that all day. So with the new one that's coming out next month, man, I'm so excited for it. But
I agree.
Those first couple hours, man, of Twilight Princess are just like, wow, it's hard to play through that.
It's rough, dude. Everybody complains for some reason about the opening of Skyward Sword, of it being similar and drawn out and boring. But man,
you're at least doing shit.
Yeah, it's a lot worse than Twilight Princess in my opinion. But the problem is, the second you get past that, dude, that world is so good. The combat's really good. The dungeons are like some of the best in that entire franchise. It's just that damn first 2 hours. It's bad.
I never played it, but I always heard about it.
Yeah.
Do you have a Wii U, George?
I do have a Wii U. I have the game on Wii U. I should do that soon. But I feel selfish and spoiled for saying this. Like, I want it on Switch, man. Like that seems like a great like bedtime game. And I could, I guess, plug my Wii U into my bedroom and just like play on like the gamepad or whatever. But no, I want it like slightly crispier. Honestly, that might try to be like the first like Dolphin game I do. I still can't figure out how to get my GameCube emulator to run on my Steam Deck, and it's really annoying because like I spent probably 2 weeks just ripping every GameCube game I own through like my hacked Wii, and I can't figure out how to get those games to run, and I want to jump off a fucking bridge sometimes. But those are the games the best games that we want to play that we haven't played. Does anyone have any really quick some honorable mentions? I got Dead Space, Silent Hill 2, Last of Us 2, and God of War 2. Those are like the games that like I think I want to play but haven't been too compelled to. And the 5 that I mentioned were way more pressing to me. Does anyone have any HMs, any honorable mentions?
So just a few off the top of my head. Gears 5. Everybody always said that game was incredible, but it kind of just came out and went away. Gears 5, Golden Sun. Never played any of those games.
Oh,
Earthbound. Never played it.
Ooh.
And trying to think. There was one more I was thinking of off the top of my head. I don't know. I lost it, but yeah, those are a few.
And for me, I guess I was able to pre-order the Pixel remasters. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I'll be getting those.
Dude,
and
I'm
you know
so
what's
glad they're
crazy
bringing those.
is, what's crazy is with the Pocket, right? With the analog Pocket, the audio is on the bottom of the console, right? Or the handheld. So when you put it in the dock, you're covering up the audio, and the dock doesn't have an audio out. So
That
I
seems
do
like a
not know.
massive flaw.
The dock can't support audio out?
No.
That's crazy. That's
What?
nuts.
And that monitor right there that I had does not have an audio out. And
Jeez.
it doesn't support Bluetooth.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I really like. Oh shit. This is wild. This is like, that was a huge design flaw. Like,
is there an audio jack? Like, is there like a 3.5 millimeter?
yeah, but it's at the bottom. So when you
Son of
put
a bitch.
so when you put the analog in the dock, it's like, wait, what? Now
Here's
on
what-
my monitor here that's in front of me, that has an audio out, so I'm okay. You know,
That's crazy.
But,
That's a massive design flaw.
I'm glad I canceled my analog Pocket years ago after hearing you say that, because that thing for $250 should be flawless.
yeah.
Here's what you do: you get Seth to 3D print you a solution, if that's possible.
I don't. What kind of solution? What kind of 3D print for that though?
I saw some guy. He made like a cradle. Basically, it's like I'm on like a Mac, and like the Mac Magic Mouse or whatever. The charger's on the bottom, so you can't charge and use your mouse at the same time. And so this guy built like a cradle for it to basically like still have like a laser that worked on its desk, but so the lightning cable could be in it, and so you could charge and use it at the same time. I don't know if you could strip down the dock you have, Coach, so that like the plug still goes in, but then it's like rested up higher, so you could have like a 3.5 out into like some kind of speaker and do something like that. But Seth, just do what you do as a hero and save the day. I mean, the entire military regiment course is based off your physique. You'd think you could come up with a simple solution for an analog pocket. God,
I mean, here's my question, Coach: is the bottom just a USB-C?
Yes.
Oh well, then you don't even need a dock.
Wait,
You're not right. Well, if the bottom is just a USB-C that the dock plugs into, you can just get a USB-C to the HDMI adapter, plug it in, and then plug in speakers to the bottom of your analog pocket.
I don't know if you could do that.
So sure you could.
I don't know. I'm probably totally wrong.
Seth invented the USB-C.
I believe Seth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because USB-C supports HDMI.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see if they ever announce. Well, they have announced the Analog 64 or whatever, right? But it'll be interesting to see, one, how much that is, and if they're going to have more than 5 copies to sell, right? That's going to go. They're the. I mean, they make good products, but they're the worst at fucking online sales and shit. Man.
Their whole process is so messed up. I mean, that's actually why, jokes aside, that's why I canceled my pocket, because I had ordered it. And I know you waited much longer than I did, Coach. You know, you pre-ordered yours way back when it first came out, or when the pre-orders first dropped. But I pre-ordered mine when they said something about like I think I pre-ordered it in like February or March. This was 2 years ago now. And they would ship them to you by the end of that year. Well, it got to like May of the next year, and I still had not received mine, and I just gave up. I was like, I don't. This is ridiculous.
Right.
So,
also they announced it they announced the N64, the Analog 64 in 2023, October 2023. They're like, yeah, it'll be out in 2024.
No,
haven't heard anything about it. I don't think it's happening this year.
I keep looking at them. I think I'm gonna buy that Anbernic SP, like that little, cheap Chinese emulator that everybody's raving about, that looks like a GBA SP and can basically do everything an analog pocket can, just without the cards. So,
or the cost.
Yeah, it's like $60.
Right. And I think all the games that I want to play on the Nintendo 64 are either on Rare Replay or on because Nintendo actually has a good N64 emulator, right? Yeah. So pretty much things are fixed. It looks clean, crisp. So like for this, I don't really have a desire to get their products. So. But anywho,
thank you everyone for listening to us talk about what we've been up to, what we look forward to hopefully crossing off our list. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
East Coast time zone sucks.
As someone who's lived there his entire life, I agree. Yeah.
Well, everything's predicated on EST. Very rarely do we see Pacific time anything. So why don't you Pacific Islanders get it? Well, that was weird. I don't know why I called you that. Pacific people time zone.
But I grew up.
I was gonna say that's not even where Coach is from.
Even worse. It's mountain time? Are you kidding me?
2 hours.
Pacific Islander time. That's like Hawaii. That's not the West Coast.
I don't know why I said Pacific Islanders. Immediately when I said it, I'm like, that's not right.
Coach, I will say this: West Coast sports scheduling is better than East Coast sports scheduling, because you got football starting at 10 a.m. and then the final game ends at like 8:30. Beautiful.
Yeah, because they're catering to the East Coast people.
It's great. So, like, do I want to stay up till midnight watching football? Like, not always. No.
But never mind. Whatever, dude.
I will say this: it
sucks.
Pretty sick that out on the West Coast, because everything's based on our time, they can play new games at 9 p.m. in the evening. That's pretty cool.
I used to be able to go to Best Buy at 9 on a Thursday and get
Yeah.
a game that would release on a Friday. It was pretty great.
When you used to be able to go to Walmart and get every game at midnight release, those were the glory days. Now Walmart bitched out and they close at 11. And I'm like,
They like won't even let me pre-order a game. They're like, no, I just want to reserve a copy. They're like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, I can't like you're the only game store in this entire town. Can you
Yeah.
like act like it? Like I
Yeah.
just want to make sure I get a copy of this game when it releases, and they won't let me pre-order again. I don't
Walmart
understand it.
drove out GameStop in my area, and then they were like, nah, we don't care anymore.
Yeah,
Like, they had like
we're gonna carry 20% of the games that GameStop did, and then have none of like the bonuses that cater to what this audience actually wants.
it was such a crazy assassination too, because like my Walmart put in a collectible section, right, and it was like massive and phenomenal. And then the second GameStop went out of business, they stopped carrying, and it's just a mess now. It's empty. I'm like,
yeah,
wow, what was the point of this? You know, you guys don't even make a profit off new games.
no. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back in your ear holes, if not next week, then the week after. We should probably talk if we want to do a weekly podcast or a bi-weekly podcast, just because kind of comfy doing a bi-weekly boy, but I don't know. We will talk about that behind the scenes, and we will let you know next time we record, and we will talk to you real wicked soon, Internet. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you soon. Goodbye!
Thanks for listening to this episode of Frameskip. Don't forget you can find the show on social media at FrameSkipPod. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow us each individually on Twitter. George is at Shortbox Summary, Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid, and I, Austin Eller, am at Austin J. Eller on Twitter. If you've got a question, comment, or topic you'd like to hear discussed on the next episode of Frameskip, you can do so by submitting it to us on social media. Email us at frameskippodcast@gmail.com or visit bit.ly/frameskipq. That's bit.ly/frameskipq. The show is typically live on YouTube every week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can find our YouTube channel at bit.ly/frameskiplive. Don't forget to subscribe and be notified when we do go live, typically at about 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.